assignment?
There we are. I'm going to go over assignments first. That way we'll have more time, just to go over. There's 2 poems, and I'm not sure if you guys read them or not, but we'll go over them, and then Rania will go over them again on Friday with you guys.
Is it something like you want us to feature anything, or just something to write on?
No, just something to write on.
Did you collect any lyric assignments?
Yes. Do you guys have those? Yeah? Good, good. Because we'll do something that's interactive, like with each other, as far as we can read them as lyrics themselves, and then we exchange the lyrics that you've chosen. That way there's a different voice, and you reread them, but we'll reread them as a poem. So you're separating the song and the words into the poem. Okay, everybody got something to write with or something to write on? Alright. Chapter 7, make sure you reread that before Friday, because she is going to go over that again. And let's see, also chapter 8, start reading that for sure. And your annotated bibliographies are due on Wednesday the 11th. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask Rania, because I don't have any answers for that. So the 2 poems, have you guys read Richard Cory? Have any of you? Okay, alright. Alright, we'll go ahead and we'll start with the lyrics first, and then exchange them and all of that. My name is Anna Lovering, and I don't know, she said that she sent you guys an email. So, a little bio about me. I'm not from Lubbock. I was born and raised in Houston, and then I moved here. So I accept, good morning.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. So I accept, whatever is coming from anyone, I like to write. I don't know if you guys like to write, so I hope you do, because I do have an assignment for myself, for you, for Rania. So, and that, it won't be hard. It won't be hard. I deal, in my poetry, there is a bit of performance, but there's also reading. Reading is an art in poetry that I believe it's not lost. And it is a very delicate balance. You can do it well. And it's part of entertaining at any level. And some people get bored with it, but it's a necessary component in literature. It really is. So what I would like for you guys to do is look over some writers, and you can even, if you feel more comfortable listening to music, but please, by all means, with a humongous asterisk mark, do not plagiarize by any means. It's not going to go over well in anything. And if you do, however, find yourself writing and you want to jot something down and reference, the verses go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on and so forth. However, if you have a reference to something and you want to explain it, they're called footnotes. Just go ahead and put a little number by that, put it in quotes, and then write down what the reference is to. It could be a word that you pulled out from the dictionary or something like that, but it might help explain your poem. And then you'll perform it for Rania. So that's not too hard. I'm not asking you to memorize it. If you're good at memorization, which some people, they can just, boom, they can memorize it and that's that. But don't worry, you can read. That's perfectly fine. So maybe I can make it back and watch you guys. That would be really neat. So, okay. Yeah, think you guys can handle that? Yes? Try to write a poem over music. I know that sounds really broad, but it's the rhythms that we encompass to find our voice that sets the stage and the tone.
So wait, write a poem about music or write like a musical poem?
It's how you want to write, like using what you've learned thus far, the rhythm, the meter, the stanchion, if you want it to be a ballad per se, but in your voice. Does that make sense?
I think so.
I hope that's clarification. And not, I mean, it's difficult to pinpoint and say, okay, you need to write it objectively like this. I can't tell you how to write.
And we'll perform these Friday, I guess?
In front of the whole class?
Yeah, do you have a problem with that?
Oh my God.
Okay, how about this? How about this? If you choose to or want to read it from where you're sitting, would you feel more comfortable doing that? You can work. No. Okay, that's a good example. Okay, for example, I'm going to use you as an example. You're in a military outfit. Okay. That, just an outfit. Okay, that's the word I'm going to choose from that. As opposed to a sweater, a hoodie. Okay. People pay attention to the way you dress. Like if you wear sunglasses, things of that nature, you can block out certain things around you and you can perform that way. But if you feel more comfortable from where you're at, then that's acceptable. You know, you don't push yourself to everything, you know. It's okay. So, all right. Who needs the assignment still? Okay, all right. We are going to go over the lyrics and then review them as a poem. If you have a piece of paper, you might want to write this down. And also, if the rest of the, if you guys have your books, open them up to 128 and 129. And we'll just keep that open, but we'll go over lyrics after I read this.
And I was late, can we just go oral again in Spanish? Do I need to review the sheet or her?
Whenever she comes in, if you want to drop it off in her office,
Okay.
that's fine. And we're just signing in. There's a sheet that's being passed around. I don't know where it's at right now.
Oh, sorry.
Is everybody signed in? You need to? So is this everybody? I mean, pretty much. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, you guys will get credit, you know, because you're here, so. Okay. You guys ready? All right. Make sure that you have reread chapter 7 by Friday, because she will go back over it. Even the 2 poems that we'll read today after the lyrics, she'll go back over all of this again. So, and then also start reading chapter 8. And your annotated bibliographies are due on Wednesday the 11th.
Also about that, has she sent like a prompt and everything?
She will send the writing prompts. I'm sorry, that's a good question. I'm sorry about that.
Let's do a week from now.
Yeah, no, she will. She will. She's pretty, you know, into getting through and all of that, so.
Just trying to get through this class.
Do you enjoy it though? I mean, for the most part, does everybody enjoy literature?
I enjoy the content. I enjoy the poems we read.
Really? Thank you. Okay. Well, who wants to start on lyrics? Do I have anyone?
Are we gonna get like a prompt for the poem, or like, is there anything other than write a poem?
Just write a poem about, music is a broad, it's like art, or it's about reading or writing. It can be very broad. But something that moves you. What moves you about music?
Oh, music is like the thing that we're supposed to write about or something?
That's going to be my assignment for Rania. So, that you will perform for her.
And music.
In music, what moves you about music? Can you explain it? I mean, can you say, well, the leaves that rustled as I walked past, and her eyes, they stared at me, and I couldn't stop but think of how beautiful her movement was. In those verses right there, it's just structured around a plain, there's no A, B, but it's just a free verse. You can write it in any style that you would like. So, just an example. Okay, now. Don't be embarrassed. Yeah, come to class, that's good. Okay, reread chapter 7. Start reading chapter 8. Also, read these two poems, they're two poems because one of them is a poem and the other one is a song. Richard Cory, and we'll go over that. And your annotated bibliography is due on Wednesday the 11th. And my assignment for you is to write a poem about music.
Okay.
And that'll be, you can perform it or sit at your seat, that's fine. That's fine. Just explain, you're going to read it from there. So.
And that's Friday? It's due Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Due Friday. So. Alright. Any lyrics, anyone?
They're reading the lyrics?
Yeah.
The whole song?
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you have? Who is the artist?
Look, right?
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I can play the background. Because I know sometimes I get in the way. So why don't you take the lead, lead. So why don't you take the lead. And I can play the background. You take the lead. It's evident you run the show, so let me back down. You take the leader role, and I'll take the background. I know I miss my cues. No, I forget my lines. I'm sticking to your script, and I'm reading all your signs. I don't need my name in lights. I don't need a starring role. Why gain the whole wide world if I'm just gonna lose my soul? And my ways ain't purified. Don't live according to your word. I can't endure this life without your wisdom being heard. So word to every dance, a fellow pop star. Because we all play the background, but mine's a rock star. Yeah, so if you need me, I'll be a stage bright, praying the whole world will start embracing the stage fright. So let me fall back, stop giving my suggestions. Because when I follow my obsessions, I end up confessing that I'm not that impressive. Matter of fact, I'm who I are, a trail of stardust leading to the superstar. He's rapping this, so that's why it's kind of like, okay. And then it goes back into the chorus. Yeah. And then the next verse is, I had a dream that I was captain of my soul. I was master of my fate, lost control. And then I sank, so I don't want to take the lead because I'm prone to make mistakes. All the folks who follow me end up going in the wrong place. So let me just shadow you. Let me trace your lines. Matter of fact, just take my pen here, you create my lines. Because if I do this myself, I'm scared that I'll succeed and no longer trust in you because I only trust in me. And see that how you end up headed to destruction, paving a road to nowhere, pour your life out for nothing. You pulled my card, I'm bluffing, you know what's in my hand. Me, I'm just gonna trust you. You cause the dice to land. I'm in control of nothing, follow you at any cost. Some call it sovereign will, All I know is you're the boss. Man, I'm so at ease. I'm so content. I'll play the background like it's an instrument.
I was gonna see this. Okay, no, that's fine. The purpose of this assignment is when you take the lyric away, can it stand on its own as a poem? You know, most poetry is song. It's just the basic underlying writing. Do you notice the rhyme schemes in here? For example, internal rhythms, internal rhymes, sight rhymes. There were, you know, plenty. I mean, just listening. And you read them, it starts to just roll off your tongue. Back and forth, back and forth. And that's what you're listening for, true? So, and it's, music really is very diverse. You know, there's good songs, there's bad songs. What about music? And are you influenced from the music, per se?
I think so.
How and why?
I think when we listen to music, we're wanting to be influenced because we're choosing to listen to particular songs depending on the mood we're in or what's going on in our lives. So I think we allow music to influence us on purpose sometimes just to kind of get captivated by it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, if you have a choice of a performer against another performer, that falls in the bias or opinion, you know, and it's all a matter of style or taste in some instances, but music generally just captivates people, you know. Are there any other lyrics? You have one in the back? What do you have?
Slipknot.
Okay.
Bury all your secrets in my skin. Come away with innocence and leave me with my sins. The air around me still feels like a cage, and love is just a camouflage for what resembles rage. So if you love me, let me go and run away before I know. My heart is just too dark to care. I can't destroy what isn't there. Deliver me into my fate. If I'm alone, I cannot hate. I don't deserve to have you. My smile was taken long ago. If I can change, I hope I never know. I still press your letters to my lips and cherish them in parts of me that savor every kiss. I couldn't face a life without your light, but all of that was ripped apart when you refused to fight. So save your breath, I will not care. I think I made it very clear. You couldn't hate enough to love. Is that supposed to be enough? I only wish you weren't my friend, then I could hurt you in the end. I never claimed to be a saint. My own was banished long ago. It took the death of hope to let you know. So break yourself against my stones and spit your pity in my soul. You never needed any help. You sold me out to save yourself. And I won't listen to your shame. You ran away. You're all the same. Angels lie to keep control. My love was punished long ago. If you still care, don't ever let me know.
Okay, you ran away all the same. What's that?
You ran away, you're all the same.
Okay. But what I'm asking is, what is that to you? What is that like? If that line right there, what would that be? What would you consider that as in poetry?
Like, what does it mean, or?
Like, for example, a term what comes to my mind is irony.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of, it's interesting because when you hear a song, you can be just driving down the road and all of a sudden you start laughing because you hear that comedy or that irony and you think, oh my God, I can't believe they said that. But they did, you know, and they run with it. So that's a good one. Thank you. Thank you both for the lyrics. Anyone else? We've gone over Slipknot. We've gone over The Gray. You ready? Okay.
I did Gary Jules in my world.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. Bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I want to drown my sorrow, no tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world, mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel then, happy birthday, happy birthday. And I feel the way that every child should, sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world.
Okay, excellent examples. That type of rhythm was found in Langston Hughes' poetry. He created a rhythm, especially in the jazz movements, that it was just repetitious, over and over, and to where it would just, it could flow so easily. A lot of the jazz musicians stated about he reading his poetry with them, he never had to practice. It just flowed. And a lot of times you pull in the irony, you pull in the internal rhyme, sight rhyme, the rhythms, and the movement and the meter, and you have a poem, and you have a song. So that's really good. Anyone else?
And I have one.
Okay, who's the artist?
It's by Luke Brunton. It's one that caught my attention this last week just because it fits the time frame we're in right now. It's called Drunk on You. The cottonwood falling like snow in July, sunset, riverside, four-wheel drive, and tail light circle. Roll down the windows, turn it on up, pour a little crown in a Dixie cup, get the party started. Girl, you make my speakers go boom boom, dancing on the tailgate in the full moon. That kind of thing makes a man go mm-mm. Be looking so good, what's left of those blue jeans. Drip up honey on the moneymaker, gotta be the best buzz I'm ever gonna find. I'm a little drunk on you and high on summertime. Well, if you ain't a 10, you're a 9.9, tripping and spilling that homemade wine on your tied up t-shirt. Every little kiss is driving me wild, throwing little cherry bombs into my fire. Good God Almighty, girl, you make my speakers go boom boom. Dancing on a tailgate in a full moon, that kind of thing makes a man go mm-mm. You're looking so good in what's left of those blue jeans. Drip of honey on the moneymaker, gotta be the best buzz I'm ever gonna find. I'm a little drunk on you and high on summertime. So let's slip on out where it's a little bit darker, and when it gets a little bit hotter, we'll take off out in the water. And it goes to the chorus again.
Okay.
I feel like this poem or these lyrics, like when they stand by themselves, they don't hold up near as well as some of the others that have been read. Like for this song, it's the music behind it. I think it captures us, not the words as much. Just.
So maybe overusage of personification and alliteration. I can grasp that very easily. And there was also usage of, he's telling a story in there, and so maybe it does make it easier with the chords behind there. So, anyone else?
I can read this, but I lost myself on my computer account, so I can't print it. I have it on my computer.
Okay, who's the artist?
Jason Alton. It's Flyover State, and it says, a couple guys in first class on a flight from New York to Los Angeles, kind of making small talk, killing time, flirting with a flight attendant. 30,000 feet above could be Oklahoma, just a bunch of square cornfields and wheat farms. Man, it all looks the same, miles and miles of back roads and highways, connecting little towns with funny names. We'd want to live down there in the middle of nowhere.
They've never drove through Indiana, met the men who plowed that earth, planted that seed, busted his ass for you and me, or caught it part of moon in Kansas. They'd understand why God made those flyover states. I bet that mile-long Santa Fe freight train engineers seen it all, just like the flatbed cowboy stepping with steel on a 3-day haul. Rodent rails under their feet, yeah, that sounds like a first-class beat. On the plains of Oklahoma, where a windshield sunset in your eyes like a watercolor painted sky, you'll think heaven's doors have opened. You'll understand why God made those flyover states. Take a ride across the Badlands, feel the freedom on your face. Breathe in all that open space. Meet a girl from Amarillo. You understand why God made why you want to plant your stakes. In those flyover states, have you ever been to Indiana or the plains of Oklahoma? Take a ride.
So do you think that stands on its own?
It can, there's a lot of rhymes to it.
Sight rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of sight rhyme. And that's important. In description, especially with a poem, you don't want to emphasize, well, the tape that's in front of me, I see it. When you write a poem, and say, for example, if it's a broad topic, art, what do you see in art? Or what do you hear from music? You know, not only the rhythms, the rhymes, and meter, what is it that grabs you and that moves you? So there's a lot for me, and I hope I'm not boring you in the front. Your eyes are closed, so.
No, sorry.
I'm not trying to, make an example of you at all, I promise. I've fallen asleep plenty of places, but definitely, I just want to make sure I'm not boring you. Okay. Do you have any lyrics?
No, I forgot to bring those.
Who did you think of?
Huh?
Who did you think of?
If I did bring in lyrics, I don't know, Pharrell, that's what I listen to.
Really? Can you just recite anything, like a couple of lines, or? No, I mean, seriously. I mean, because I can think of some lyrics from, like the opening line to Positively 4th Street by Bob Dylan. You have a lot of nerve. Call yourself my friend. Those are great. It starts a story. Can you think of any? It can just be anyone. I mean, just if you remember the artist or...
Would you mind if I looked up lyrics on
Oh, you have your iPhone?
yeah.
Okay. I consider technology a stimulus package for many people. It's so diverse now that people feel, hey, this is how I need to make friends. And I'm being sensitive to technology because, it's there. But you don't always need it. But yeah, that's fine. That's fine. If you have one and you want to share, that's fine.
I have a song.
Yeah? Okay.
This is by Mike Posner. I think I said that right. It's called Cooler Than Me.
Okay.
I really like it. It goes, if I could write you a song to make you fall in love, I would already have you under my arm. I used to follow my tricks. I hope that you like this, but you probably won't. You think you're cooler than me. You got designer shades just to hide your face, and you wear them around like you're cooler than me. And you never say hey or remember my name, and it's probably because you think you're cooler than me. You got your high brown shoes on your feet, and you wear them around like it ain't shit. But you don't know the way that you look, and you start to make that much noise. That kind of just.
Yeah, I know. And I can hear the song as you were reciting it.
Yeah, it's hard to say without hearing it.
Have you guys ever heard of Gwendolyn Brooks? She's a very famous poet. I've heard that song.
Oh, yeah, I just read her poem. About a cemetery or something.
Also, Be Real Cool. That, I don't know, the upper crust of cool you can find in anything, even in yourself and in a voice. And that was coming through, you wanted to sing it.
Yeah.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. No, that's part of performance.
I have to work on my vocal cords a little bit.
But no, it's fine. Like, if you guys practice this in front of, like your poem that you write for Rania, if you practice it in front of a mirror, I can guarantee you, it'll start for you. You know? And you can take that with you, whatever you do. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, mine's by Avenged Sevenfold. It's called Brompton Cocktail. And that's all. Doc, I'm dying. I'm feeling compromised and so dehumanized. I lost my final fight to disease. I feel that this is where it ends. I need that shot to enter my vein, my Brompton cocktail blend. Because I can't feel my face. I won't struggle on in a world so cold and a world so wrong. I'm not running away, been fighting this so long. Such a price that we pay, we gotta be strong and alive. I'm tired, induced euphoria to help me move along. I wanna meet my maker in peace, I wanna feel alive again. So put that smile back on my face and mix it strong, my friend. Cause I can't feel my face, I won't struggle on in a world so cold and a world so wrong. I'm not running away, been fighting this so long. Such a price that we pay, we gotta be so strong. And I take my life tonight cause I have the right to die how I wanna and leave how I arrive so alive. I believe my sins have been forgiven, and I believe my choice will save me from this life. Please don't question why my sins have been forgotten. I believe I'll find a place in afterlife. Please don't question why I left this way, because I can't feel my face. I won't struggle on in a world so cold, in a world so wrong. I'm not running away, been fighting this so long. Such a price that we pay, we gotta be so strong. And I take my life tonight, because I have the right to die how I want it and how I arrive so alive.
How I arrive so alive. Start rhymes. Start rhyme, end rhyme, eternal rhyme. Okay, let me ask you this. For the people who did read lyrics, and I appreciate that, I really do. Do you notice, like, for example, if one of them were a poem and they could stand on their own, in your eyes, out of the two themes that seem to propose themselves, would you notice, would the lyrics lend itself better? Would one be better over the other? Did you guys notice that when you were like looking up so many different lyrics probably and trying to figure out which one was better over the other, which one stood on its own? Did that cross your mind? Or?
What do you mean by stood on its own?
For example, okay, I'll go ahead, that's a good... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we'll turn to 128 and we'll compare a poem and a song. And I'll read for you. Everything's open? Everybody's sharing? That's fine. Okay, the first one is by Edwin Arlington Robinson, titled Richard Cory. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from sole to crown, clean-favored and imperially slim. And he was always quietly arrayed, but he was always human when he talked. But still he fluttered pulses when he said, "Good morning," and he glittered when he walked. And he was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought that he was everything, to make us wish that we were in his place. So on we worked and waited for the light, and went without the meat and cursed the bread. And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. Now we'll go to song. And this is by Paul Simon, Richard Cory, and he actually put with apologies to E.A. Robinson. They say that Richard Cory owns one half of this whole town, with political connections to spread his wealth around. Born into society, a banker's only child, he had everything a man could want: power, grace, and style. Now the refrain. But I work in his factory, and I curse the life I'm living, and I curse my poverty, and I wish that I could be, oh, I wish that I could be, oh, I wish that I could be Richard Cory. The papers print his picture almost everywhere he goes. Richard Cory at the opera, Richard Cory at a show, and the rumor of his parties and the orgies on his yacht. Oh, he surely must be happy with everything he's got. He freely gave to charity, He had the common touch, and they were grateful for his patronage, and they thanked him very much. So my mind was filled with wonder when the evening headlines read, "Richard Cory went home last night and put a bullet through his head." Which one sounds better?
The second.
The second?
Just 'cause, I'm not sure, I think it puts a little more into detail. That's all I would say.
So it pulls you away from the
Sound a
word
little more
standing on its
interesting.
own?
The way you read it just sounds a little more interesting.
Anyone else?
Flow.
Flow? What about flow?
I feel like that's one thing that attracts me to music. It's not necessarily the words, but the rhythm and the flow of it, and just the music behind it. And I feel like when you just read that, like there was more of a melody I could see coming to it, versus the actual poem where you're reading the poem and you're reading the words. Yes, there's the rhythm, yes, there's the rhyme, and all this different stuff in it as well. But I feel like the first poem really, like the poem makes you focus on the words and what it's saying, versus with a song or music, it's personal preference whether or not you pay attention to the music or you pay attention to the words. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Anyone else?
I'm probably biased because I do love that song, but also I love how it's from like an outsider's point of view. I work in this factory, and I curse the life I'm living.
Right.
That's one of the differences. I never heard this poem before.
Anyone else? These are all good, observations. You?
I mean, I just called the flow was better than the second one.
What is that? What is it about flow that makes it better than just words on a page?
I don't know, I feel like, not you relate to it more, but just like you can, I don't know, makes it easier to read. I don't know.
Just explain it the best way you can.
I don't really know.
I'd say it's more like, when it seems more lyrical kind of here, and the way I see a song is a puzzle, but when you're reading something so long, it doesn't seem as much of a puzzle as something like a song. You're trying to put each line together because each line is stronger than the, for instance, in the second one, each line, I believe, is a little stronger, and they're shorter than the other one. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say. I mean, just the way it flows in rhythm, I see it as a puzzle, and I try to put it together with a little more meaning to it.
I think like good rhythm is more entertaining. The choppy rhythm or something that doesn't really flow. And if it's more entertaining, then the reader enjoys it more and can probably get more out of it and want to reread it or read it more. Even if it isn't like extremely complicated.
Well, taking time. Let's see, how much time do we have left? Okay. I can, if you guys allow me. Have any of you ever played an instrument, just out of curiosity? I kind of figured you might have, because you wanted to. Okay, a guitar, or like what type of instruments did you guys play?
Yeah.
This is a very musical class. Voice? Yeah.
Euphonium.
Euphonium? That's cool. Okay. I'll read you an original. Photograph in traffic. It's 10:41 a.m. The clock appears as a receiver with a face speaking of lost time. To look out and around, it is an image of people sitting in vehicles, listening to what? Conversation with whom? And thoughts perched on windshield eaves to scatter and run through a breeze, fast. To take you back to that one place when you would meet me, sidewalks slick with rain, a mirrored pond reflection as water rippled onto a busy street. which would wait for you and me. There's no rhyme, but it tells a story. And there is a certain type of rhythm that does flow within the pattern. So that might help you guys a little bit as far as writing your own piece. That's your own. So, I know Rania wanted me to suggest some poetry readings, and I'll give you a link if you guys would like to see some performance. I have a YouTube channel. If you want to write this down, AL power chord 5. And you can click on, yes.
I just have a question. Do you have any advice about us about writing poetry? Because
Yeah.
I don't think that's anything we've done.
Yeah. What comes to mind when you first see an object or you hear a broad subject?
Generalize it?
You could do that. I'd probably go the opposite and keep it open and then weave my way into writing a line. Like, for example, let's see what I can give you. This was a short story. I'm just going to read some lines from it. But it's more poetry infused. So, keep my head up, look back down at the table and see what I've been working on. Something of a ballet incorporated with jazz entitled Open to Blue, One Night Without Perfume. There's a sight rhyme right there. Open to blue, one night without perfume. Blue, perfume. When you're writing poetry, think of a rhyme scheme, and it can either be AA, BB, or AB, AB. There are so many different styles and methods on how to write poetry. And this is not a poetry class by any means. But I thought this would be a fun exercise for you guys to take with you. Because if you do voice, you've done voice, so if you've done that, maybe you want to write a song. Maybe you want to write a couple for the rest of your life. You know? Play the euphonium. Maybe you want to create a composition. You know, it's work, but you work with it and it will work itself out well. Find words when you're writing poetry, like, for example, the tree is green. Tree and green rhyme. You're rhyming things, whether it's internal, whether it's external, whether it's an end rhyme, whether it's a sight rhyme. The lyrics to Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. There's a lady we know, be sure that all that glitters is gold. Okay, gold and no sight rhymes. These are things that, I mean, yeah, when I listen to lyrics or write them or whatever the course of my writing may be, I pay attention. And that's another, you know, you do pay attention to what you write. It may not be the perfect thing. That's fine. There's so many drafts to writing. I believe that Huck Finn, Mark Twain rewrote that like 3 or 4 times. And if you ever read that, it's a long one, you know. So there's always revisions. If it didn't sound right, work with it. It's like you work with your voice, your guitar, euphonium, piano, anything. Don't worry, just let it go. Don't worry, just let it go. Yes?
I had a question, like, how long should we be shooting for?
If you want it to be a heavy metal power ballad, you know, if you can make it as long. That was always my question, is when is it time to stop writing? You know? And that's really it. The best advice is it is up to you. You know? And I can say that you can start a sentence and end it with a period. if that makes any sense. It's a simple metaphor. You want it to rhyme, you want it to sound, I mean, let's see, or even a haiku, 575. So just like, let's see, I think I have one in here. The cry of a heron. It's 5. So just go ahead and however, the syllables just count. 575. You want it that short? If that makes it easier, you can work with it that way. This one's titled The Lectern Sound. Through the patterned forest of trees that surround the waving leaves, the cry of a heron hangs autumnal like a lantern blown. The dark, muddy gravel loam extends out to a harbor pier's foam, a sanctuary to carry cadence, bestowed in front of the partitioned fence. Goslings run to and fro, to collect goods of grain from nature as they go. Apples are apparent seeds of thought, in this town of boats and whatnot. Windows that view, taken from college days, commonly spent to think at the bay. Collective minds gather at Coffee Brothers, much with the same cry of others. Speculate or extrapolate with notion that Main Street is full of midwives selling potions. I'd like to think that thoughts are succinct when trapped in furrows of the brink. The lecterns sound much like the feathered flight, and tells patterns of words to entrail with usage of sight. The writer, much like a gosling, young, inept, will prove to the audience human nature is an attempt. But you just try, like it. When I hear songs, I know that they're asking questions or they're going to leave us with something thought-provoking towards the very end. And we use those as our philosophies. Go ahead.
Can it be like rap?
If you want to, if that works.
I hate poetry, so.
Do you?
Yeah.
What about poetry?
Well, I used to like poetry, but after a while it started getting boring. It's depressing.
Depressing?
I don't know. I mean, I like rappers. I guess it's a form of poetry, but it's more fun. I'm talking about like the original poets, the one that just talks about, I don't know, sad stuff. So, I don't know.
The barfly that sits at the end of the bar.
Yeah.
Those are stereotypes.
Yeah.
I mean.
Because I write, but it's not poetic.
Do you have anything on you?
Nah, most of my stuff I just write in my head, really. I'm more of a...
Could you rhyme something? Like real fast?
That's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird? Why? It's words.
True.
Words are just, in your mind it is a shelf and it's got a collection of words. And then there are other collections of rhythms. And you put those two together and you get sound, meter, rhythm, rhyme, irony, everything in poetry and in writing and in literature. And it either grabs your attention or you can always go further with it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that would be fine too. So.
I was just going to ask, are you saying sight rhymes? Like sight? S-I...
Yeah, S-I-G-H-T.
What is that?
A sight rhyme?
Is that kind of like sight reading when you read books and stuff? Or kind of are you like...
Well, I guess if you compare it, like, if there's like a bass flute to a bass, they have about the same note. If you can read notes well, it's about the same structure. A little different, but for example, gold and no and gold. You're not stressing. You don't hear it at first, but if you reread it or re-listen to it, you see it. It's right there. It's rhyming one word over the other, or together. Internal rhyme. Does that make sense? To the end rhyme. So, for example, whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from soul to crown. It goes from the first verse to the third verse, and you have a rhyme scheme there. Clean favored and imperially slim. Him and slim. And he was always quietly arrayed, and he was always human when he talked. But still he fluttered pulses when he said, "Good morning," and he glittered when he walked, talked, and walked. Arrayed, said, said. It's how people, I would like to say it's how well read you are, but I would think that would be an ignorant comment, because when you're reading and you see it, a lot of times your writing and your voice, they're very different. But when you've learned your voice and you learn how to project it from paper to speaking or performing or however, or rapping, there's a definite rhythm that you need to find, and that works well. So you can play around with words, and I believe it in the second stanza, the first and the third, once again, he did that same rhyme scheme, but he wanted to play around with said. So in his, that way it'd make it more interesting. And he was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace. In fine, we thought that he was everything, to make us wish that we were in his place, grace and place. And you can just follow through with that. So. Sorry I kept zooming it over. But thank you guys very, very much.